Alright guys, so it appears that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has finally come out. And I'm sharing my initial thoughts here with all of you. We've already done a video kind of addressing this, of course me talking about wokeness. And I guess I'll kind of head this off first and foremost. You know, does something being woke even really matter when people are not willing to admit to you or themselves what wokeness even is, right? Because there's a bunch of people that ask, is this game woke? And it's like, well, because there's not a bunch of lesbians running around saying death to the patriarchy and death to capitalism and telling you that you need to change your gender, and they're wearing these liberal dreadlocks or whatever, or some liberal feminist side cut, right? Some kind of liberal feminist hairdo, because they don't just scream at you progressive liberal Satanists, right? Because it's not so clear just looking at the activists, because it's a little bit more concealed, people act like, well, there's no problem here. That's number one. And then number two, what the frick? This is sticky, biatch. I just picked up a frickin' wrapper in sticky. What the? Who the frick touched it? Anyway. So, you know, but because the political operative is not, what is it? Conspicuous? Because, whoa, what is going on with the folds in their freaking skin? Yo, look at that. Look at the folds in their skin. That's weird. What is that about? That must be a graphical glitch. I don't think I remember seeing that in other cutscenes. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, and now that you can be gay in this game, now every scene just, it just feels like a soon-to-be gay freaking scene for dudes who are not straight. So anyways, love of God, man. I mean, like, everything feels homosexual now in this game. It's unbelievable. But regardless from such fact, golly, I cannot believe they pandered to homosexuals with this game. Like, everyone only cares about straight relationships. Guys just want to see Henry banging some hot chicks. Because, you know, you think of Henry as yourself. That's all it is. But here we are. Well, now you gotta look at Henry's you now. So him banging dudes, I guess you're gay if you play this game, am I right? Love of God. But, yep, that's what they want. Anyway, so because a political operative, though, does not conceal themselves, that makes them woke, right? And this is how a lot of people think, is that you need to be told what propaganda is in order to believe what propaganda is, rather than knowing full well for yourself what is propaganda and what isn't propaganda. Because, by the way, the best propaganda, you cannot tell. You have no idea that is propaganda. That's why it works. The point of propaganda is to not be noticed, is to go by concealed, but also delivering the message. That's the point of it. So, this game has propaganda within it. Absolutely. There's a lot of games that do, of course, and it goes by unnoticed, and people, they're mind controlled, and they think that they think for themselves, even though they completely do not. You are owned. You don't even know how to question your own thoughts. You know, you were told that the 1930s Germany guys were bad, but you don't even know why. And, of course, you were told why, but you never rationalized it for yourself. And there's a lot of these things where, unless you're made so uncomfortable that you have to think about it, you'll never think about anything for yourself. You will allow other people to do the thinking for you. You don't own your own thoughts. And that's kind of the problem that we see with a lot of these games that push this wokeness, is that a lot of people who are not willing to own their own thoughts, they'll sit there and they'll say, oh, well, you know, you're woke. Or, okay, here's a better framing, really. Oh yeah, by the way, the women in this game, They have decently sized breasts, mostly attractive. I mean, they're all white women, so of course they're super hot, right? Yeah, and we have an ad here, so what's up, ad? Screw you, go end yourself. But the women are largely attractive. I mean, apparently, it looks like a lot of the chicks in this game, they have larger breast sizes than the women in the previous game. So I do like that. I mean, yeah, you look at these chicks and they look stacked. So, yeah, are they the most attractive white women? No. But it's like, are they passable, attractive white women? Yes. So, obviously they could be hotter, but it's like, at least these developers are not turning away the male gaze. At least they're willing for you to see women that are at least baseline attractive, right? I mean, these are women that are basically, oh man, that is a brutal way to go. They're like, whoa, that hurts. At least the women in this game, right? At least they're attractive. At least you would want to bone them, even if they're not the hottest chicks out there. Like, at least these are the types of women you're like, I get why men procreated for generations, especially within white countries, with women like these. Makes sense. It makes sense. So, and I could go down a whole rabbit trail on this one. Yeah, these guys wrecked those dudes. So sad. Man. So sad. But, you know, thank God we have Gay Henry to save the day with his gay counterparts, the other homosexuals. This chick, by the way, is a fiery feminist archetype female, the one that's kicking, you know. This biatch right here, right? She always slaps men. This is not the first time that she slaps dudes. For her slapping, they would obliterate her for slapping them. The fact that this woman is never put in her place in this freaking story, up until the point that I've seen the game for, because I'm still going through it, the fact that she's never been put in her place in this game, I mean, she should be brutalized for freaking slapping a man. That's just the way it was. Yes, that is just traditional gender roles. Women have no monopoly on violence, only men. And it's ridiculous that a woman would ever think that she could get away with this. I don't care how attractive she is. You would get brutalized. What a woman would actually respond as, and I'm going to get into this, how a woman would actually respond though, is just, all right, whatever, just let it happen. Maybe wriggle around a little bit in their holds, but you know, you can't really do that much. Just show that you're not happy, and that's it. That's all you can do. You have to wait for a man to save you. You know, and before men were absolute mother effing simps, it used to make sense that men would defend thy lady's honor. Mostly because it's like, yo, these guys are freaking ruffian pieces of trash. They don't know how to behave properly in a civil society. We need to correct them because they're, you know, they're treating our fellow women who are not from other ethnicities or demographics. No, this is in-group politics. It's like you're a white guy and you're behaving like trash with a white woman. What the frick is wrong with you? Get it together, right? So this is why you would have a lot of men policing other men in past history. It made sense. They weren't feminists. It was just like, be a proper man. And these women, they're expected to be proper women as well. Everyone was expected to be proper at one point in time. And when you were not proper, you were a problem. Maybe you got away with it because you were a bandit. But once upon a time, traditional gender roles was expected out of men and women. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, you know, women, they're girl bosses. They're equal to men. They're just as smart, fast, muscular, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards as men. But also we need to white knight for them. Oh no, you offended her feelings and you called her a whore when she's actually a whore. How dare you? I'm gonna white knight now. You know, like, it makes sense back in historical premise that men would, air quotes, white knight or, you know, simp out. Not really simp, but you know what I mean. They would defend thy lady's honor. Made sense. Made sense. Because there was once upon a time, women actually needed men to step in on their behalf so that we could reinforce a civil society. But then what happened? We became woke. We said that women are equal to men. We said that men are equal to women, I guess, kind of, but also inferior to women at the same time. Anyways, I mean, and that's literally feminine. You know, by the way, I just have to say this one quick second. Fuck you, you piece of shit feminist. Just have to say that right now. Fuck you, go screw yourself. They are the same type of people that will literally tell people like you, people like me, that we don't know what feminism is, even though feminists make it very clear. By the way, I've studied feminism. I know what the F it is. Go fuck yourself, feminists. I know what the hell you're about. Fuck you, you're a piece of living shit. Just because you don't like how we reveal what feminism is does not mean it's not feminism. Does not mean that we somehow don't know what feminism is. You're a fucking retard. I'm sorry I had to say that. I'm sick to death with feminists. They're absolute pieces of filth. They are the rot of the of the earth, okay? Before I go into a tirade here, I'm just gonna temper it back. I could go into it, but just on principle, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna let the freaking pressure seal blast off, and we're gonna put a cork in it, all right? Homosexual innuendos engaged. But no, I mean, it's not really, but because it's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I guess it is homosexual. But anyways, I hate to death freaking feminists. I freaking hate them. These are satanic pieces of filth that have destroyed the natural synergy between men and women. Again, back to what I was talking about, because there's a whole... I know what feminism is. Go fuck yourself, feminists, and fucking simps as well. Fuck you. Anyways, okay. Oof. Man, listen. Just at some point, when you know feminism inside and out, and feminists have revealed themselves and they've literally expressed their views more times than 10 or 20, and then you still have feminists tell you that you don't know what feminism is, go fuck yourself. Literally go fuck yourself. I know feminism better than you. You believe in feminism mostly as a product of your retardation. You don't know anything. So whatever you think that anything is in life, that's what you think it is. You think a dog is a cat. You think your mommy is daddy. So go shut the F up and screw yourself. Freaking feminists, man. I'm just sick and tired of them, because this is how leftists always operate, is that they always want to tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. And by the way, censor leftists, screw them. They are the party of political censorship, and it's time that we fight fire with fire. So screw these pieces of filth. Absolutely screw them. I'm so done with leftists, dude. They're absolute pieces of shit. Just filth of the earth. Man, I am so fed up. So anyways, I'm going to put another cork in it, because I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself in my anger. So I'm going to temper it back. Let's get back to what we're talking about. I'm so sick and tired of feminists acting like we don't know what they are. How can you be so conceited that you reveal exactly what you are for multiple years? We've gone through the era of wokeness already, and it's still going on, but we've gone through some of the biggest examples of leftism. We've seen feminism on full display in multiple movies. We have acculturated feminism into movies, games, and television shows. It's always been this way. You just look at the philosophy of feminists. Go look at the foundation of feminism, Gloria Steinem and the other dipshit whores. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm tempering it back. And I'm saying sorry for myself, okay? Just for my own sense of principle, okay? So we're gonna temper it back. But screw them, that's all I have to say. But you look at from inception to where we are now today, feminism has always been this way. And the feminists, because they make themselves look bad, they say, you don't know what feminism is. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess me saying that feminism is a bunch of satanic women that have no respect for men. They have absolute disrespect for men. They absolutely hate men. That feminism is the absolute mobilization of malice. And it's a form of violence, but let's say it's an absolute form of malice, as well as, it's a good word for this. Feminism is the complete mobilization of malice as well as contempt by women for men. It is a war doctrine, by the way. Liberalism, for one, but especially feminism, is a war doctrine against men. That's what it is. So again, go screw yourself, feminists. You're pieces of filth. I have nothing for you. Public execution, absolutely. Especially since you are pro-censorship. Death penalty for anyone that goes against the First Amendment. And by the way, big arbiters of censorship have always been women, whether they're on the right or the left. Keep that in mind. Anyways, moving on. I could keep on going with this because, man, feminists, they just, ooh. Nothing good to say. Nothing good to say coming from me. Like, absolutely just, they should go extinct. They should absolutely become dinosaurs of their era and just go extinct. Anyways, they destroy everything that is kindred between men and women, and they weaponize men, their good intent. And that is where today we now have these simps and these white knights and these men. By the way, simping is a satanic action. Go F yourself. Anyways, but that's what we have now today. Sadly, we have a lot of simps out there and a lot of satanic losers, men and women, because they're feminists and also other things. Multiculturalists, you can go down the list. But outside of that, back to what I was talking about. Women having men stand up for them was for good reason throughout history, because you had a lot of men who were ruffian types. We didn't have a lot of great ways to, basically speaking, I don't want to say this, but right, like we didn't have a good way of correcting society, but you could also say police society for just common sense reasons. You know, men behaving like ruffians, like pieces of trash, and like trying to take people's money and property, and women by force, right? It's like we're trying to make a civil society. Enough with this nonsense. We're trying to build up, and for fellow white men and white women, we're trying to make a civilization where everyone can have proper lives, be proper. I mean, you can't be a proper functioning member of society if you have random bandits abducting you, right? So it's just for common basic sense that we understand why we're trying to not be the third world where all the browns, you know, this is no problem for them. But, you know, there's a reason why throughout history, this mattered. Like this right here. I mean, okay, again, okay, there's so many things to mention. Okay, listen, man, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna dance around it, so just screw it. Feminist archetype, this woman's a feminist. This is what a feminist female acts like and thinks like. And by the way, you didn't have women who were complete C words in the previous game. You had a lot of women, they were just traditional women. They were kind of fair, they were nice, they were not very combative or confrontational. This woman, she backhands and slaps men within the first 3 hours of the game, I think at least twice. I don't know if it happens over and over again with this chick. You didn't have this. This is feminism right here. When you don't need women to be like this. This is only because of modern day that men think that women need to behave like this, slapping them and all this. This is ridiculous. She would be brutalized back in her day and age for doing this. And that's stupid. It's stupid that we allow this today. It's stupid that we allow this to be on a product that is trying to mirror past age where women didn't do this. This was heresy to do the public execution, and also grape is what would happen to this woman for doing this. This is ridiculous. And this game, because I don't know who the feminist on the team is, unlike the previous game, but there's obviously someone that's more leftist, or maybe David Favreau, whatever the F his name is. Maybe he became more of a feminist over time. I don't know. I don't know what happened. But this, you only do this not because this is actually how women thought and behaved. You do this because feminism has seeped into your freaking head. And now you're putting it into your products. This is ridiculous. Women historically have not been confrontational, combative. They are adverse to conflict. The second people start throwing hands, women scream and they run and they freak out. Okay, that's always what they do. It's only feminists who no one puts in their place. They're the only ones that think that they can attack people, because you live in a society where people allow you to assault others. That's what it is as a woman. So this is nonsense. Her behaving this way is retarded, but they want to give a feminist street cred for their game. So they're like, here's this woman that's a strong, independent, brave female that can just put men in their place, even when these guys would take off her clothing and rinse through her. All right, it's just that for her attacking them like this. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. And then there's a knight, by the way. So let's just keep on playing this, I guess. Look, she throws up her hands, ready to duke off with a, and they say, oh, frick, oh, you freaking feminists, oh, frick, man, frick, Oh man, you are just absolute filth. Absolute filth. Ooh. I made a video talking about this, which is right now is supposed to come out before this video, so you can go see it. I talk about just when people ask you, is it woke? Does it matter? Does it matter? Because if you're going to be an apologist or you're going to be some kind of missionary for wokeness, if you're going to excuse wokeness as it is blatantly shown to you, if you're going to make excuses for this, then does it matter that it's woke? Does it matter? Apparently not, because you want to make excuses for it. And that's the issue. It's like for people who know what wokeness is, yes, this is right here. This is woke. This is propaganda. Oh, a woman can duke off with men. Oh, these guys better be careful. Get the F out of here. Yes, this is woke. Yes, this is propaganda. Now, here's the next question. Are you okay with it? Are you okay with women being placed equal to men, or at least the women largely in this game are in their own role, but they're still feminist archetypes. They're still combative. They're still disrespectful to men. This is ridiculous. This is not how women were supposed to behave throughout history, and this is not the way that they did behave throughout history. It's only modern day where women can get away with it because men allow them to, and that's the only reason women ever get away with anything. This is a modern sentiment placed within a traditional game, traditional historical set piece game. Product, media, whatever. By the way, pick up my books, Charles Arlington on Amazon, mother effers. Unless you want to keep on picking up gay and feminist stuff, then fine. But anyways, so does it matter? Does it matter? Does it matter? It's woke. Okay, it is woke. It is woke. Does it matter? Or are you okay with women showing blatant disrespect to men? Are you okay with that? Because there's a lot of guys now, they're running cover fire for this nonsense. And it's been happening for a while, but there's more and more of them. These shills, these egalitarian shills, they will do everything to fight for this. And say, oh, well, the reason why he is this, the reason why, it's always some way to cope with it. And it doesn't matter if they're left or right because they're both the same side. You will hear right-wing guys make excuses for this, just like the left-wingers. It's just that the left, they're more militant. That's it. But they're all liberal at the end of the day. They don't understand what traditionalism is. The previous game did not have women behave this way. Women were not like this. The women were like women for the overwhelming part of the previous game. And I liked it. I liked it. All men like traditional women. It's only cucks, simps, who no woman likes, no woman respects because they allow them to walk all over these men. It's only those guys that like this. Freaking pathetic nerds. The freaking lot of you. Anyways, rot and filth of the earth. Anyways, screw you feminists. I'm just so done with feminists, man. Just pieces of filth. Anyways. This right here is so unacceptable. But yet you have a lot of people, they will make excuses for it. So when you ask, is it woke? Yes, it is. Now, are you going to allow someone to tell you it's woke? That's what it comes down to. And I don't care about what other people think and say, but you know, we're talking about the cultural conversation. When people ask, is something is woke? The real question is, are you going to allow yourself to tolerate wokeness? It's not, is it woke? It's, are you going to tolerate the wokeness that is in here? Yeah, if you're going to just stand with it and be like, oh, whatever, a woman blatantly just behaving in a way that women don't behave, for one, and also women would be totally punished for behaving this way, and nothing happens. By the way, here we go. Watch this. So she's, oh, well, okay, thank God she got hit, at least. But you know, again, she would have been absolutely beaten for doing that, and more, okay? More would have happened. Now, of course, he white knights here, and he's like, hey, put your hands off her. Of course, he's simping out for her, which is just, I mean, she has no respect for men, so why are you doing it, Henry? Let her just get ripped through. I mean, who cares? This female has no respect in this game for men. She constantly slaps them and whatnot. It's ridiculous. And by the way, men are not evil for touching women. This is something that used to happen all the time. In past generations, men would touch women and women liked it. Now, and that doesn't mean that men just did it like these guys here, okay? It's just, there are so, oh man. Like, do I have to do a freaking history lesson over something retarded? No, I don't. So I'm not going to do it. So moving on. It's just so many past generations of men. It's normal that men and women touch each other. It's normal. It's only nowadays that we say that, oh, anytime a man touches a woman, it's this situation. This what's happening on screen right here. That's every time a man touches a woman. So every man needs to be policed and harassed for ever daring to touch a woman. And this is, why do you think every guy nowadays is basically gay? Even though they act like they're freaking straight, they're all gay, they're all feminists, they're all cocks, all of them. Why do you think? Because we police and we vilify men for normal contact with women. Yes, touching a woman is okay. Yes. Yes, in past generations, a bunch of men touched women. And the women, because they weren't feminist whores, they were like, oh, you know, whatever. Because it was normal for white men to touch white women. Nowadays, you know, we have to allow all these browns and blacks to invade countries, so now we have that problem. But outside of that, and also we have feminism and all that problem, but okay, outside of that, used to be normal that a dude would put his hands on a woman. Used to be normal. Used to be normal. You might touch her, poke her, prod her, whatever. Not a problem. And women, they like being touched by men. Now, again, this happened within the parameters of a proper civil society. There was a point where we got to as a civilization where men and women could touch each other. It wasn't criminal. It wasn't delinquent. It wasn't villainous, like maybe here, where these ruffian dudes, maybe bandits, I don't know what they are in the game, I forget right now for some reason, but I don't care. There was a time where we got to where it was just normal. Men and women could touch each other contextually within certain situations, and it was all, you know, the predecessor before, it's a lot of proxy flirting and whatnot, and then, you know, it intensifies unless one or the other party is not that interested. But it used to be that also, by the way, that women were much more interested in the common man than today. Okay? But because of feminism and because of this propaganda filth, oh, that's interesting, that word propaganda, as I talked about. Propaganda is terrible. Okay, by the way, I mean okay, I need to finish that sentence. The worst propaganda is really how I meant to say it. But again, propaganda is terrible, or I'm sorry, terribly executed. You know, I want to say terrible, but it's like, okay, you know, just within the phrase of the speak. Okay, whatever. Anyways, the worst propaganda, terribly executed propaganda, is the propaganda that you recognize. The best propaganda is the propaganda that no one notices. Again, this here is propaganda. This right here. How many freaking retards will sit here and say it's not propaganda though? They are the lackeys for their political intent, or for the political party that is weaponizing intent on their brainwashed lackeys. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. This is propaganda right here. This is to vilify men and to also uplift women. This is literally what this scene is. She's literally ready to go fisticuffs. This is stupid. So, back to what I was originally saying. There's so much to say in this video. And this is not the proper review yet, by the way. I mean, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna see the rest of this game, but we have to talk about this. The start of the game, the first impressions, because there's already so much being shown. I'm still working through it. We've gone a couple of hours past the prologue now, me personally. But oh man. Oh man. Watch this. Watch this. This guy shows up. Watch this. This villain guy, boss villain, shows up. Watch what he does now to the ruffian dude. The ruffian guy says, "She's mine." Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Why do you think this happens? Why do you think this happens right here? Ready for it? Ready for it? Why do you think this happens? Why do you think that happened? Has nothing to do with standing up for my lady's honor. And then he allows her to run away. Nice breast, by the way. Motorboat out of 10. But he allows her to run away. Now, why? Why do you think they allow this? Why do you think they allow this? So, we vilify the men, in this circumstance, men making a sexual approach on a woman, well, forceful approach on a woman, right? The woman, she can still fight for herself, right? But then this guy comes along and says, die, evil patriarchal men, kills the dude. The other one runs away because he obeys the authority. And then she's allowed to run away. Now again, this game is not blatant propaganda, but that makes it even so much better than previous propaganda pieces like Far Cry New Dawn, for instance, where a black woman who's a twin who looks like a teenage girl bashes in the head of a white man who is built for combat, by the way. This guy's beefy, and he gets killed. He gets brutalized by a helmet bashed into his face, and he dies in Far Cry New Dawn. Many of the other Far Cry games, they also push their own forms of propaganda, but that's one blatant form of propaganda. And it's because it's so disgusting and because it's so obviously insulting, people are like, well, that's woke. They don't look at something like this where the intention is the same thing as Far Cry New Dawn, where a black teenage-looking girl bashes in. By the way, she's scrawny. Again, I say teenage. She is built like a teenager, and she's beating in a guy that looks, I think he's like 20. He's either 28 years old or he's in his early 30s. He's built for combat, brawny white dude, and he gets bashed in the head. He doesn't put up a fight, and he gets killed, maimed by a scrawny girl boss black woman. The same propaganda, because the point is still there, is to uplift the women. Now, of course, the woman is the authority. In here, the woman's not but they treat this woman as the authority throughout the story. She's the chick that, you're not touching me, mister. She's that feminist archetype. So it's the same thing. They just flip around the roles a little bit. They flip around the intensities, and then they tell you, you should root for this team, just like how you should root for the other team in Far Cry New Dawn, right? It's the same thing. This is propaganda. But because it's not as insulting, because it plays to your sentiments, oh, I should be a white knight for a woman because that's masculinity, because at one point, men and women both were traditional. Now, today, men are expected to be both traditional and also modern age, while women are specifically and strictly modern age. Because they're riding off of your traditionalist sentiments, which is expected out of you back then and now, despite the modernism of today, you're going to sit here and say this is okay. You're going to sit here and be like, oh, well, they got what was coming for them. And the propaganda seeps into your head that men are aggressors, that men are evil, that all this nonsense. And also the point that the woman's also strong, but like contextually strong, whatever. Or that this is the reason why she should be independent from men because, oh, she's always being harassed by men. And this is where we also vilify the sexualization between men and women. That any man coming onto a woman is equal to these guys who would grape this woman, right? This is absolute nonsense, man. But again, you know, the problem for people that cannot admit to themselves what wokeness is that they're not uncomfortable enough to make up their minds. And I said this earlier in the video. All right, let's keep on going with this. I said this earlier in the video, right? I said that until you are uncomfortable enough for most people, then they will finally make up. Let me bring up the quality. I don't know is it on auto? I think it is. Most people will not make up their minds until they are uncomfortable. Most people will sit there and say, oh, well, men and women, you know, they're interchangeable. You know, you can transition if you want to, you know, gender roles, that it's just a societal construct. It doesn't actually exist. Your biology does not reinforce whether or not you're going to think like a woman, feminine, and think like a man, masculine. It has nothing to do with it. It's all social engineering. And we can get to such a utopic dream point, a goal state where men can be perfectly feminine and masculine, and so can women. They can be perfectly masculine, even though your biology doesn't allow for it. You know, you have a PP, she has a vajayjay. By the way, that reinforces your hormones to some extent. Also, men have more testosterone than women. And women only, I think they only have like slightly more estrogen than men. I think it's only 5 times, but men have, I've seen anywhere between 50 to 500 times more testosterone than women. I think it depends on the woman, obviously, but men, at the end of the day, because again, most people say that men have 50 times more testosterone, but I've heard as much as 500 more, so I don't know, like, what is that? How's that dictated? What are the parameters of those separate studies? I don't know. I don't care. Anyways, moving on. The point is that men are different from women. Men have different hormones than women. Men have different biological structures, skeletal, organ. Their brains are larger than women's. There's only one brain region, by the way, that is larger for women than men. And I think it has either it's emotional, something to do with emotions. I think it's just emotional registry, or I think it's, or is it speech, or is it emotions tied to speech? I forget. It's one of those. It's been a while. So whatever that region is, I need to go look it up again because I've forgotten it. Whatever. Women only have one brain region though that's larger than men. Men have more brain matter to utilize and function with than women. Yes, and that's why, by the way, men make up more geniuses. I'm sorry, they're the only ones who are geniuses compared to women. Women only make up average IQ and intelligence. Anyways, we're not going to get into that conversation. Just to put it simple, men and women are different, and I'm so fed up with these feminists. They tell you you don't know what feminism is, and then they tell you that men and women are equal, and they always act like that they're the freaking experts of the conversation. No, shut up and sit down. You don't know what the F you're talking about, and you're quite frankly, you're useless. You're not going to transform society, and definitely not for the better, so shut up and just, what the F is wrong with you? Also, by the way, screw you, Satanist pig. Anyways. So, anyway. So as I was talking about earlier, oh man, we've gone all over the place. This is always the issue with these videos. There's too much to say, and I mean, we got through that, but it's just like, it's so many layers to dig into, and I didn't even go into every single layer. It's just, you know, I think that was largely sufficient for now, but there's just so much to go into, so. Anyway, again, is the game woke? No. Are you going to allow yourself to accept that it is woke? That's what it is. When people ask that question, it's, are you going to accept that it's woke? That's what the question, I wish I put it that way. I mean, I was trying to frame it within the video that I made previously. By the way, you can go watch it. But when I made the previous video speaking about this, that's the proper way I was trying to fish for the proper way to phrase it. And it's, anytime someone asks you, is it woke? It's, are you, yeah and no, it doesn't matter what I tell you, because are you willing to accept that it's woke? Or the woke elements, are you willing to accept that those elements are woke? That's the real problem here. And that's what I was getting to in my previous video talking about this. Yep, you're kind of good. It's like a game movie, by the way, for the first 3 hours of this. It's a very prolonged prologue of the game. Holy crap. The prologue, it's about 2 to 3 hours. My gosh. It's one of the longest prologues in a game. It's basically movie game, which I'm not against, but I don't really know if we're going anywhere with this story yet. That's the issue with it. By the way, pick up my books if you want a proper story. A story that actually goes somewhere as you're moving through it. And by the way, definitely pick up the Realm Lords Apocrypha. That one's really good. But anyway. So, alright. Where were we from the start of this video? I'm trying to recuperate myself now. So, okay. Is the game woke? We also have the homosexuality. Apparently Hans, this is what people are saying. I don't know if I can trust them. I'm gonna guess we can. Apparently you can romance a step brother? Apparently? Someone said that, and if that's true, oh man. Oh man. Oh man, the sodomy is over 1,000. Apparently there's more though, more than one male romance option in this game. What the frick? There should be no homosexuality in this game. But they gave us multiple homosexual options. You put developmental time into homosexual options. No. Either give us more women who are hot to bang, or give us more gameplay options. Or both. Or both. But what the frick? This is a game made for men. I mean, do you really believe that more and more men are becoming gayer and gayer? And yes, they are. I mean, because of propaganda and also maybe the xenoestrogens in the water. But are we going to suddenly act like being gay is normal? By the way, homosexuality, this is the predecessor to any great empire failing. So are we going to normalize something that will destroy America? Do we really want to normalize this? Homosexuality? Do you want to see an empire fall? It's just, oh, jeez, man. You know what? Let me get back to the previous point I was making though. So just to finish it all off before I got through ranting about everything else, there was a point in time where men white knighting for women, it was for good reason, because right, women, they can't fight for themselves, they can't fend for themselves. Women used to be within their proper role in society, and you're trying, you know, for most of human civilization, we were really fighting hard to try and make a proper civil society, and today we're still struggling with that. Instead of anti-social warfare, now today we have pro-social warfare, where we moralize you killing yourself, which is, oh, let's allow a bunch of people invade your country and say that they're citizens now, you know, the browns and the blacks running into America in the EU and saying that we are going to force ourselves upon your civilization, whether you like it or not. And also then they also engage in a lot of crime. But, you know, pro-social warfare is to rationalize the irrational, or to irrationalize the rational, whatever, vice versa. So we have a lot of problems nowadays. Also, where you also a part of pro-social warfare is to moralize malicious intent, which is feminism, by the way, which is also socialism, by the way, and also communism, and also multiculturalism. It is to moralize and make ethical the malicious intent of individuals or collectives. So that is pro-social warfare. We're seeing a lot of that now today. But anyways, there was a point in time where men standing up for women was absolutely necessary, absolutely needed, because it was very difficult to police for a properly functioning and civil society, right? But nowadays, this is a weaponized intent, where now women are being placed above men in modern day. Women no longer know their proper place with and alongside men. Women are no longer cooperative with men, they're now combative with men. And because of this, now in modern day, women... What's up, Ryan? Reynolds, freaking bro. Anyway, because women think that they're equal to men, and now that women are being placed in either supremacy, superiority, or equality, air quotes on equality on that one, it never exists, but you know, any idea of equality. Now that they're being placed in this improper role with men, now you have the weaponized intent of men, which is, we are being ruled over and tyrannized by women, but also at the same time, we are expected to lay down our lives and simp out for women and defend thy lady's honor, even though she is supposedly equal to me. And why can she not just stand for her own rights, her own sovereignty, or her own authority? Why can a woman apparently not be such a boss babe that she can fight an illegal immigrant on her own? It never works that way. Isn't that interesting? Women never fight illegal immigrants on their own. They always have to resort to a man defending them. Isn't that interesting? Strange. Anyways, but this is what we get. So, you know, again, it's so sad with this game, because it's like, I see things like a man standing up for a woman, and it's like, it just makes sense. It makes sense when women are traditional, but we don't get that. Anyways, women are feminists in this game. There's so many women in this game that will talk back to a man. They literally, like Henry will say things. He will literally flirt with women. He will lose reputation for flirting with women. What the frick? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's just reinforcing homosexuality, for one. I mean, Seriously, if a man has the fear in this game that flirting with a woman loses you your reputation, what the frick? And that's not to reinforce homosexuality. I bet in this game, I'm going to guess, and I don't care if this is true or not, but I'm going to guess that you flirting with a guy in this game does not lose you your reputation. I'm just going to take a wild guess, but I don't care, regardless of the fact. They still are delivering that point that you need to be careful flirting in this game with women or else you will lose reputation. This is freaking retarded. Outside of that, right, the fact that we have homosexual characters, the fact that later in this game, we also have freaking black characters in Bohemia, in freaking white people land, freaking Anglo-Saxon region here. We're going to have random black people. This is ridiculous, but here we are. Here we are. This game is woke. Whether you like to accept it or not, this game is woke. But that's the problem. Is the game woke? You might be asking with this game. The answer is yes. But now the real question is, are you willing to accept it being woke or the woke elements? Are you willing to accept labeling it and understanding it as woke, or are you going to fight it because you are sympathetic with wokeness? That is the real question here. Now, of course, I could end the video right there, by the way, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to just be very clear about this before we eventually get to the end here. Yeah, I don't know what this dream sequence is, but it's in the game. I don't really know what's going on there. It's so weird. It's like they're trying to go for a weird mixture of fantasy, like grounded fantasy with this game, by the way, and I guess that was also the previous game to some extent, a little bit. Anyway, but again, like, let's be very clear about this. In the previous game, women were not super disrespectful of the men, including towards Henry. But in this game, you will notice a difference in the writing style that for some reason, yeah, I don't know what, random horse for some reason. I guess it's a dream sequence, I can't tell. I mean, or maybe he's hallucinating. I guess that's what's happening. Anyway, let me skip forward just to show you a different part of the game, because this is basically a recap of things that happened in the previous game. Anyway, you know, women were not as disrespectful towards Henry and men in general in the previous game. Yeah, this is the chick that if you flirt with her, she will literally lose reputation with you. It's ridiculous. I just, what the frick, man. Yeah, anyway. But the women, they always have to have a one-up. They always, if you have a snappy comment, they always have to have a better comment than you. Always happens that way. In this game, it's multiple women, old and young women in this game. They just talk back to Henry, and they're always being a little bit nice breasts, by the way. The women, noticeably, they always have to be fiery and combative, or always have better knowledge, or again, they always have to get the one up on the man in whatever context you're in. The women, noticeably, in the previous game, they were more cooperative and more receptive and submissive to whatever you as a man had to think and say. Now, again, I do respect the fact that most of the women in this game, or most of the characters in general, are white, so far at least, but seems like majority are white. The women are largely attractive. They have breast size. Wow, that's not existent in almost any modern game. Actually speaking, what the frick? I do appreciate some of like the immersive gameplay elements too of this game, which is very similar to the previous game. There's a lot of things I do appreciate about this game, but again, like the women, it's just like they want the women to be seen as either equal, or that they are not submissive or compliant even, or in deference to the men in this game. And that is because, and this is different from the previous game, and that is because whoever the frick it is, some feminist writer stepped in on this game to write for this story. That's what happened with this game. I don't know who the frickin' liberal is. And by the way, something about the cinematic appeal of this game, a little bit different. I'm not going to say too different, but a little bit different though. From the previous game was a little bit more serious, and this game feels like, it's kind of funny, I'm finally mentioning this, the title of the video. But this game here feels like Monty Python for liberal Zoomers. That's literally what this game feels like. And that's literally the way that they wrote it. The writing feels different. Everyone talks a little bit more modern day. Everyone kind of talks back at one another in a weird kind of... It doesn't feel as placed within this set piece as the previous game. I don't know what happened, but they got a writer who's clearly a liberal, clearly a feminist, wants the women to be seen largely as equal to men, because the previous game was a little bit more traditionalist. This game now is more egalitarian with the relationships between the men and the women, which is liberal, which is progressive. Screw you, feminists. And again, we're pushing this feminism where the women are, for whatever reason, they have to be placed on equal playing field or speech, right? Like just the frame of the conversation. The frame of the conversation, the woman has to have equal frame to the man, which is absolutely ridiculous, but here we are. Regardless of all fact, it's just that the women always have to be placed as if they are independent of the men. In the previous game, this was not so much the case almost ever. I can't even think of a time where it was, okay? Can't think of any time it was. Literally cannot think of it. The women were just women in the previous game. And noticeably in this game, the women are just disrespectful. Much more often than the previous game. And they're disrespectful to the point. I mean, this feels like wokeness, right? Like feminism and whatnot from 2010. That's what this game feels like. And I don't know why this is happening for a game that's coming out today. I don't know what that's about. It is really strange though, because this feels like wokeness from either 10 or 15 years ago. But anyway. But yeah, so this is the game. These are my initial thoughts and reactions. Now we're gonna, of course, get into the final review once I finish up with the game. But these are my thoughts just right now. Obviously, these elements are woke. Obviously, they're trying to make you accept the fact that these women are being disrespectful towards the men. The fact that you can lose reputation for flirting with a woman is just ridiculous. It's just flirting. It's just flirting. That's it. And you're losing reputation. And again, the homosexuality should not be in the game. What the frick? That is woke. I don't care what the frickin' gays and the feminists want to say about it. It's woke. This turns every frickin' scene in this game into a parody. There's so many lines that frickin' Hans and Henry speak, and also other characters. They speak their lines, and you're like, oh gosh, that's a gay innuendo. You can't take anything serious. So any serious or meaningful topic matter in this game now has no gravitas anymore. Because you just know latently that all of this is homosexual underneath the speaking lines. So, what the frick, man, with this game, they didn't have to do this, but they did. And they did take ESG money. It's okay. I forget what the group is called. It's something group. I'm forgetting it on the top of my head here, but you know, man, I guess the gameplay feels a lot like the previous game. I don't know if the gameplay's really changed much. I don't know if they expanded on the gameplay. I hope that the sieges are good. I hope they're engrossing. I hope that this game impresses on gameplay. I don't know if it will. So far, I haven't seen anything that much different from the previous game, but we'll see. And outside of that, man, I don't really know if I'm gonna really like the story. The previous game's story was just a story. It was good, decent writing. This game, again, it feels more modern day, and I don't like that. It's okay for what it is. It's not like modern day, but it's leaning in modern day direction rather than being kind of old-timey, a little bit reflective of the time period. Now, the locations are beautiful in this game. I do have to say that. So at least there's that. But anyways, man, that's the end of my thoughts here. That's pretty much everything so far. And we are going to be experiencing the rest of the game. I will have a lot more to rage about as we step forward here. And I don't know. This game's a long one as far as I understand, so I will get that review out eventually, but this here is the impressions video.